Okay, friends, let's do another problem here with our three different means of technology. So this is a loan problem, and I'm going to do a mortgage problem, so a home loan. It essentially works the same once you go to figure out the payment as a car loan. Okay, so the tools I'm going to show for all three different means of technology, you can also do for a car loan, because a payment on a loan is a payment on a loan. It doesn't matter whether it's a boat, a car, an RV, a house, whatever. Okay. In this problem, looks like we have a home that's $118,000. They want a down payment of 20%, 10% interest, that's insanely high. Monthly for 30-year fixed mortgage, and 3 points at closing. All right. So first of all, we don't need a calculator to start it off. If it's 118,000, or I don't need a fancy app, a down payment would be times 20%, right? So there's my down payment, 23,600, right? And so now if I take 118,000 minus that down payment, 94,400, that's the amount I'm actually going to get a loan for. That's the amount I'm actually going to borrow. And in the case of a home, that's what we call the mortgage amount. So there's your mortgage amount. Okay, so here we go. Let's now figure out our okay, so the next thing they ask us to calculate is the closing cost. And so 3 points at closing. So 3 points just means 3%, but that 3% is 3% of what you borrowed, right? I didn't borrow 118,000. Remember, I only borrowed 94,400. 94,400, and then we'll take it times the 3%, or 3 points. And so there's my closing cost, $28.32 for those 3 points. Okay, so that's how you do closing costs. So remember, that gets applied to what you borrowed, the loan amount, not the total. Okay. All right, so now let's do the payment. So what is our monthly payment? And again, this works the same whether it's a house, boat, loan, car, RV, whatever. So on the TI, I'm going to go to Apps, again, Finance, and TMV Solver. So this one's a little trickier, right? So 30 payments, or 30 years, 12 times a year. So actually, if I hit enter, it'll calculate. That's 360 payments. They said 10%. Now, present value. Presently, I owe 94,400. That's what I'm borrowing. Payments, I don't know. I'll just zero that out. I don't need to. You can just leave it with whatever. Future value. At the end, I hope to owe 0. So I'm going to put 0 for my future value. And then I'm paying monthly, so 12 payments per year, 12 compounding cycles per year, so 12, right? Okay. So now if I quit, and if I jump back in there, go to Finance, and now I can solve for the payment. There's my payment, and it said round to the nearest dollar on the homework, so that's $8.28. Okay. Now, how much? I believe we asked how much interest we owe. So for total interest, now it wants us to use the rounded answer. So this bothers me a little bit on the homework problem, but it wants you to use the rounded answer. So I paid $8.28 per month, because I'm using the rounded answer, times 12 months a year, times 30 years, right? That's what I paid, but the loan was for what? 94,400. So if I subtract that off, that tells me how much oh, that's a typo. Let me try that again. I swapped my numbers around, didn't I? So it's 828. There we go. I paid that every month, 12 times a year for 30 years. So that's how much I paid. That's how much the loan was for. And so there we go. So there's my interest. Holy smokes, $203,000 in interest. That's more than the loan was. That's twice what the loan was. That's insane. But that's how home mortgages work. If you go that full 30 years, of course this interest rate was way high at 10%. But even so, you go a full 30 years on a home loan and you pay a ton of interest. So there you go. So that's how to do it on the TI, and again, works kind of the same way for a car, right? All right, let's go to the website. So I'm on calculator.net on the financial calculators, and they actually have a mortgage calculator up top. A mortgage calculator is going to give you a few more options. So let's just look at that real quick. It's going to give you a few more options for a home. If I go back, a general loan calculator is called an amortization calculator. An amortization is just a fancy way of saying like a loan schedule, right? So you could also just use a generic amortization calculator as well. And this keeps it really simple here, okay? So kind of up to you. I'm going to give it a shot with the home mortgage calculator, but you could use this. If you had to use it, if you're doing a car loan or whatever, you would want to use this amortization calculator. So for example, maybe I'm going to buy an $18,000 car, 4-year loan, 5.5% interest, let's say. Boom, spits it out, $14 a month. There's your total interest, right? So real quick, real easy. Okay. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to try this mortgage calculator. So my home price was $118,000, and so this calculator is nice. It actually lets you put in the down payment. So our down payment was 20%. Loan term 30 years. Interest rate 10%. Eesh. Start date, who cares? Now here's all these other options. I could include these, so if you know all these other things, you can include them, and there's even more you can add, but we're not going to do that. And that's it. So I can hit calculate. So you notice by putting this in the 20%, it took the 20% out, and then there's my mortgage, my loan amount, $94,400. There's my down payment. It told us that. And then the total interest is right here. Now, this is a little bit off. Now, why is it off? Because it's using 828.43. It's not rounding to 828. And so this is an exact amount of interest. What we had to do in the homework was use the rounded value. And so that's why it's a little off. But this would be the exact amount of interest. So this is pretty nice on the website. It's a little more slick. Okay. Let's see it in action on the app, on the iPad, iPhone, or smart device app. So let's give that a shot now. So again, I'm using the Easy Calculator app. That's just the one I have. Tons of different apps out there. And they do have an app. You can, I don't know if you see it there, it's the red one. It says Auto Loan Calculator. So they do have an app specifically for auto loans. And it's kind of nice. It gives you a whole lot more options. And in fact, you can even put a trade-in value. So like, hey, my trade-in was, $5,000 for my trade-in and all that. And it calculates everything for you. But again, I'm going to just do it in the loan calculator. So that's up here in the top. So loan amount. We wanted to borrow $94,400, right? So that's after our payment. Interest rate was 10%. How many years? 30. And that's all we need to tell it, right? And so I can hit calculate, and there we go. So there's my monthly payment, $828.43. Again, my total interest, but that total interest is the exact amount using the 828.43 monthly payment. Again, the homework told us to round, and so then we had to calculate the interest with the rounded amount. So again, that's why that's not matching the homework exactly. So the other cool thing about this app is there's a ton more options up top. So I don't know if you noticed, but up top there's a compare button. Some of your homework problems have you compare loans. So this is a real cool way to compare some loans. If you go advanced, you can actually put in some advanced things similar to the website. So you can put in like insurance and property tax rates and stuff. Okay. And I can also, under this loan calculator, I can go more, and there's a whole slew of things you can compare. All right. And in fact, there's one on here, if I remember. It's a discount points calculator. Yeah, so here you can compare a loan for 30 years and say, oh, well, there's an option of 3 points at closing at 6.25% versus 1 point, or maybe 4 points at closing at 4.5% or something, and then this will tell you, oh, loan 2 will actually save you $76,000, right? So there's a whole slew of things in here in this loan calculator on this app if you dig in and kind of play around with it more. But if you want to just keep it real basic and simple, here's this loan calculator, and there's how to use it. Okay. So again, 3 different tools, and again, you can use the same thing for cars, boats, whatever, right? If I wanted to buy a $25,000 car, or let's say I got a loan for $25,000, right? I've taken care of the down payment, all that, and so then I owe $25,000. Interest rates 5.5 for this car loan. Most car loans are a 3 to 5 year range, so let's just say 4 years. Boom. Okay, so that'd be a car payment of $481.40. $481.41, right? So there you go. So again, you can use it for any of these other kinds of loans too. So, okay, hope that helps, and good luck.